Welcome to this podcast. I'm your host, Zach Schwartz, and today I'm having two of hopefully three shows this week coming to you guys after that break last week. And I mean, it's been a wild 4 weeks in the NFL. We've had, everything from crazy games. We have Russell Wilson as the MVP, most likely through the first 4 games. We've got a bunch of 4-0 teams. I mean, who saw the Bills and Josh Allen doing that? Well, we did, because we picked the Bills to win the division, So there's a pat on themselves for myself and my guest today, the great and established JJ Conklin. JJ, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm good. You said there would be no shocking, life-altering questions here today, but I don't know if I believe you yet. But with the one you pulled on me last time you were on the show, so we'll have to see how that one shakes out.
Yeah, keep your ears peeled.
So let's just get right down to it because there's a lot to discuss, and unfortunately I have commitments to make here tonight. But I just want to get together because this is, it's been a really good NFL season so far. I think, there's been a little bit of COVID issues, unfortunately, cropping up last week, especially, for week 4, which we'll talk about. But also just in general, we've learned a lot about a lot of different teams. We've already had, QB controversies. We've had Aaron Rodgers lighting up the league. We've had a lot to go. Dallas, of course. It's always fun when Dallas completely fails. And your hometown team looks good, and mine is not so much. So where would you like to start with all of that?
I think we should start with what you mentioned, and NFL MVP frontrunner Russell Wilson and his Seattle Seahawks, 4-0. He's killing it through the first 4 weeks. If I had to put my money on someone, I guess I wouldn't gain much because he's the front runner, but he looks like he's dealing this year with his team.
I will say I was pretty bullish on the Seahawks. I thought they would get only the 5 seed just because of the division they play with the San Francisco 49ers. So I thought they'd have the third best record in the NFC. If you want to check my notes, you can. Back to the original podcast we did. But I was pretty bullish on the Seahawks. Of course, now I see Jamal Adams is out again. And their defense has been an issue. I mean, they've been giving up so many pass yards through the air. But, hey, undefeated is undefeated, right? And I think they will be a force to be reckoned with. And we've seen this team win a Super Bowl with this quarterback. So it's I elevated them to Super Bowl contender from playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
I have Super Bowl contender, and then my second tier is playoff. Not make the playoffs is a failure, so I upgrade them from that tier. I think they're in the tier 1 teams right there right now, at least how they've been performing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I had them as like the 7 seed in the NFC, so they're probably going to be the 1 or the 2 seed. And they're going to be right there with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, who, as I mentioned on our last podcast, has elevated his level of play with his competition in Jordan Love. I've heard a lot of sportscasters say there's no QB controversy. It's not like when they drafted Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre was 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out the door. Aaron Rodgers clearly has 2 feet in the door, and he's establishing dominance right now because he's not performing quite like Russell Wilson, but he's up there. He's dominating in his field of play.
Yeah, that's another team I unfortunately had to boost to the Super Bowl contender tier there because I say unfortunately because as a Detroit Lion fan, Green Bay makes my top 5 hated teams across sports. I did that with Luke Langell, just a funny thing, the other day on our episode. So the Packers are there, but like you said, whatever happened with the Jordan Love thing, Aaron Rodgers looks like a top 5 QB. He hasn't in the past. And there's a lot of people being like, see, Aaron Rodgers is always awesome. It's like, well, he hasn't always been awesome the past couple of years. And this year, though, he is balling.
Didn't I call him elite? And you said, well, is he elite?
Before the season, I did say that. You're right. I did say that. And I think before the season, I had enough evidence to back it up. This Aaron Rodgers we're seeing now, according to the season, blows away any expectation I had.
I think Aaron Rodgers went on record to say, the thing about my down years is my down years are most quarterbacks' career years. So there you have it, cocky Aaron Rodgers. But, the Lions, I had faith in them as a Browns fan. I feel for them, but I've lost my faith in them, as I'm sure you have as well.
Well, I tweeted that I lost faith week 1. I gave up around week 6, I think last year was when Stafford got hurt, and we were competitive in all of our games. But I lost faith week 1. So with that shocking Bears loss. And the sad thing is we've been competitive in most games. Bears was a 4-point loss. Should have won that game though. Packers we got destroyed by. But frankly, Green Bay's been mauling everybody right now. At the Cardinals, a solid win by a field goal, and then this past Sunday. So I was driving around. We were going to do a cookout, and I knew that we wouldn't get the Lions game here, so I didn't really care when I did it. So started driving out. I got to Target. The Lions were up 14-0. In the first 5 minutes, I was like, this is crazy. Then
that was when I texted you.
yes, you did. So that's why I didn't respond immediately, because I was out doing errands. Went to Aldi. Then it was 14-14. Got home, 28-14. And then eventually the Saints scored again. And so I was just like, only the Lions go up 14-0, give up 35 straight points, and then score an additional 15 points to make it a close game at the end. I was like, only Detroit could do that, just pulling the heartstrings.
I don't know. Cowboys-Browns last week was pretty brutal. It looked like it was going to be a shootout after both teams scored a touchdown on their first drive, and then Dallas scored a touchdown on their second drive. And then the Browns scored like 35 unanswered points through the third quarter. And then the Cowboys were like, actually, we're not just going to lay down and die. And the Cowboys were down 24 points going into the fourth quarter. They were down 27. They scored 24 points off of 3 touchdowns and 3 successful 2-point conversions. Made it a 3-point game, even though the Browns had been dominating through 3 quarters. So that was difficult as a Browns fan, because I know I've experienced how they like to blow games. And it was funny because social media was lighting up about how, the Browns are only up by 27. We can't be safe. And then, of course, the Cowboys put it within 3. But thankfully, Odell Beckham Jr. saved us, 1 by 10 or whatever, and it was all right. But Cowboys, man,
and the big story
they
out of
should
that,
be 0-4.
Oh yeah, 100%. So we could pick up the Cowboys arm of that first before we talk about your Browns, because I've been impressed by the Browns actually through the first 4 weeks. The Cowboys are going to make the playoffs because they're playing in the worst division in the league. I mean, they're going to. We've got Philadelphia as your leader at 1-2-1. Dallas is 1-3. Washington 1-3, and then the Giants 0-4. I mean, the thing is that Dallas is most likely, I would say, going to make the playoffs because Philadelphia again has 74 injuries, and I'm not sure how this keeps happening to them week after week. And Carson Wentz has seemingly regressed completely. So, and the thing is, I was pretty high on Dallas. If you recall, I picked Dak for the MVP. And granted, his numbers are inflated because they're trailing so often, but the offense generally has looked pretty good. Between Dak, Gallup, Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Zeke, it looks pretty good. The defense is the definition of one of those giant construction dumpsters and lighting the whole thing in an inferno. It's not even a dumpster fire; it is like a mega dumpster fire. It's one of the worst defenses I've ever seen, and. They've had some injuries on their linebackers, and even though Jalen Smith still is the one healthy linebacker, he has been atrocious. The secondary is really struggling. There's no pass rush. I mean, in top to bottom, it's just miserable.
Yeah, can you tell that the Cowboys play in Texas? High-powered offense, no defense.
Yeah, they fit right in with the Big 12 there, especially with the recent Big 12 games.
Exactly. That's pitiful division right now, but yeah, I agree. Who else is going to walk out of there other than the Cowboys?
Yeah, Washington just benched their quarterback. Haskins is benched.
Right. Yeah, Dwayne Haskins.
So, and the Giants obviously suffered a Saquon Barkley injury, and I believe it was week 2. So they're just not. Yeah, it's horrible, but they're not gonna be able to make it out of there. So yeah, I mean, it's as much as I literally we could go through a full podcast, and some probably have, because the Cowboys are just the media darlings of the league. that defense is very, very problematic, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to just at the trade deadline, just trying to get some decent help in there, just any help, literally, just someone with a pulse to get back there and just tackle the ball.
The NFC East is the only division in the NFL right now with a negative point differential or negative net points for all 4 teams.
That's crazy. And
I guess that makes sense because between 4 teams, they have 1 win.
Yeah. And yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal, that's for sure. Something I do want to say, though, put a positive spin on it, is that their defense, I talk about being so bad because the Browns absolutely eviscerated them, not even through the air. They eviscerated them on the ground, making your 1960s, old grandpa very happy, when that was his playing days. So, and it becomes even better because the Browns had Kareem Hunt, their second running back, because Nick Chubb was injured during the game, run for over 100 yards. And then, of course, the third string, who I don't even have the name off the top of my head, but I did read that he also was shredding them. So it wasn't even, Nick Chubb, who is an all-pro level player, shredding the Cowboys. So I bumped the Browns off to the playoffs. I feel like should be the goal. The only thing that harms them is just the division is so loaded. We haven't talked about the Steelers yet, but I would like to because I think they're the most impressive team I've seen, at least in terms of to counter to my preseason expectations. Kansas City's done what Kansas City's going to do type thing. And Cleveland, sits, I believe, in third right now in the division, despite being 3-1. But I would say, you look at the AFC East, you look at the AFC South, could see a team coming out of there. But it looks like Cleveland should have a solid grip on one of those wild card positions in the AFC.
Oh yeah, for sure. I saw a meme the other day that was had SpongeBob breaking a clock, and that was Dallas hurting Nick Chubb. And then it was Squidward standing next to his closet full of clocks, and they had Kareem Hunt and Dearness Johnson and Damian Hillard or Dontrell Hilliard. So I don't know. I guess we can pull running backs out of our ass because they continued running the ball down Dallas's throat. 307 rush yards. That's the most rushing yards that Dallas has allowed in a game ever, period. So very, very impressive, especially without Nick Chubb. And I think it's not because we have super talented running backs. It's because we have a super talented offensive line that was just throwing those guys around. That's where you win the run game for sure, is in the trenches. And I agree. Browns, Steelers, Ravens, they're all going to the playoffs. They're all good teams. And it sucks for the Browns in particular that we have to play the Steelers and the Ravens a total of 4 times out of our 16 games, which makes it more difficult for us than it does for other teams. But the Browns also don't have to play the Chiefs. They don't have to play the Patriots. They have a relatively easy schedule outside of their division. So yeah, they got smacked by the Ravens week 1, but afterwards they've been impressive. Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger has been playing a good game, even though they've only played 3 games with the Tennessee Titans COVID issues, which we hope to see less of. But with the Patriots now, they have 2 positive tests, right? I think they have 3: Cam Newton, Stephen Gilmore, and a practice squad defensive lineman. So starting to get scary for scheduling, fans, players, everything.
Yeah, for sure. So just for the COVID thing real quick, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, right? They moved that game later on in the season, and they altered the schedule that way. What was the point of moving Kansas City, New England back a day? How does that fix anything? I understand Cam Newton didn't play, and I believe he was the only positive test initially for the Patriots. Now Stephon Gilmore's come out and tested positive in the last day or 2. What was the point of moving it back a day? That didn't make sense to me whatsoever.
I think the point of moving it back a day was so that they could do more testing to make sure that Cam Newton was the only one. So it's not like anyone recovered, because Cam Newton didn't play, that, and the listeners know that. But I think it was basically just so that they could do more testing and ensure it's not an outbreak, it's an isolated incident, it's an isolated positive test.
Okay, gotcha. Well, that makes more sense, though. Okay, cool. Back to the football type of stuff. Pittsburgh, the defense has been just as good as people would think. coming into the season, and Ben Roethlisberger has been playing, like you said, not at an MVP level, but he's exceeded my expectations for him this season, coming in off of a season-ending injury last year early, and being a 38-year-old quarterback there. And of course, them finding wide receivers. I mean, Chase Claypool is the next Steelers wide receiver. They just pluck out of nowhere and plug right in there on their offense. So I mean, they're 3-0, of course, as you mentioned, playing one game less than everybody else in the league. But I put them in I bumped them up 2 tiers. I had them initially in that they could be in the postseason because I was skeptical about Ben. And I've seen enough where I'm bumping them up to the Super Bowl contender. Do you think it's too high for them?
Ooh. Well, as of last week, I don't know what the updated statistic is, but the 3 teams that the Steelers had played after 3 weeks were 0-9. So they haven't exactly impressed me in terms of calibers of win, but the way they're playing, they are playing good. I'm not going to knock them for that. I definitely think they're making the playoffs, but I do think that Super Bowl contender is too high. They played the Giants, who are 0-4, the Texans, who are 0-4, and the Broncos. The Broncos won 1 game, right?
I think so. Yeah, they had to.
Yes, they're 1-3.
The Jets.
So they're the combined record of the teams that the Steelers have beaten now is 1-11. Not super impressive. We'll see what happens when they start playing the Ravens, the Raiders, the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Bills, teams that are better teams.
Yeah, no, that's the right counter to my point, I'd say.
I also want to backtrack for a second. I recall now that the Browns won by 11 points because after they scored a touchdown, they tried to kick the PAT. It was blocked by the Cowboy that was offsides, and then the Browns recovered the blocked kick in the end zone for a 2-point conversion. So if the Cowboys player would have been onside, he probably wouldn't have blocked the kick. Browns probably would have had a 1-point PAT, but since he was offsides and he was able to block the kick, and then the Cowboys touched the ball after it passed the line of scrimmage, the Browns were able to recover it. If they would have recovered it and it wasn't in the end zone, they couldn't advance the ball. So this was like literally the most optimal BS 2-point conversion you could ever think of. Like, it doesn't get much crazier than this.
Yep. Yeah, that's the summary of the Dallas Cowboys defense right there.
Right. Yeah. I just want to bring that up. That was crazy to watch. I was very confused. It took the officials like a minute and a half to determine whether or not they were going to call that a successful 2-point conversion or whatever they wanted to call it.
Yeah. No, I get you for sure on that one. Okay. Another 4-0 team that I think's impressed me personally. The Bills and Josh Allen. Now, I at first I was going along with your argument there for the Steelers. People were writing the pieces about how he was lighting up the Jets and Dolphins. Now he was progressing. I was like, yeah, let's see here. Then the Bills took a very solid lead on the Rams. The Rams rallied late, but the Bills picked up the win. They played solid enough against the Raiders there to pick up a 7-point win. They haven't won by more than 10 in any of their games. However, their defense has held up, and Josh Allen has improved accuracy-wise, and Stephon Diggs has brought out a different dimension in him in terms of throwing the deep ball. What is your impression of the Buffalo Bills right now?
I think the Buffalo Bills are legit. Again, like the Steelers, I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders, but I definitely think they're playoff material. And to your point about how they haven't won by more than 10 points, I think that's a good thing because they can play close games. They can wind out the clock, run out the clock when they need to. They can score game-winning drives, whatever, when it's close. Look at the Browns. They were up by 27 points and then fucked it up, but they were able to put the nail in the coffin at the end. So, like, winning close games, in my opinion, is a good thing. It's not like college football where you're trying to win with style points. A win is a win. And I think they're going to play the Chiefs in 2 weeks. They're going to be 5-1 or 4-2 after that. I don't think they're not going to beat the Chiefs, but they're a good team for sure. They've impressed me as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, and they look like the favorite there in the AFC East, with New England kind of having some offensive issues without Cam Newton, who has looked pretty good recently, I should add as well.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go next?
Which I expected as well. I guess we can go to. We'll finish out the AFC. We can go with the AFC West and the reigning Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs 4-0. Impressive again. They put down the Ravens on Monday Night Football. Very dominant. I don't see any reason why they're not going to return to at least the conference championship game. I expect them to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. They've just been hands down the most impressive team in the AFC.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% there. I almost have nothing to add. I remember tuning into that Monday night game. It was the day Yom Kippur ended. And I was going in and, I just had gotten my Chipotle burrito after my fast. And I was like, all right, we're going to sit down. We're watching some football. It's going to be a really good time. And then the Chiefs laid the smackdown on Baltimore.
Yeah. And they didn't have the excuse that their starting star quarterback was inactive due to COVID. Ravens had just about everyone.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so it's a crazy game there, and just Kansas City. Pat Mahomes is always going to be the favorite, and even we saw it last week. Then they were struggling a little bit against New England, and eventually they pull out wins. So I think they. Yep. My guess is that the history of the NFL tells us that Kansas City shouldn't repeat this year, and that they'll go far, but they won't make it all the way. But I can't see the team that will do that to them. I'm not sure who it is. You know what I mean, though? Like, the odds would dictate that maybe they shouldn't, but they should be at least the favorite until then, although I would say it's more likely that they don't make it there. If that made any sense at all.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And then the rest of the division is pretty much not very interesting to talk about. Raiders, Chargers, Broncos. 2-2, 1-3, 1-3. Nah.
Yeah, Justin Herbert. Shout out. Nice for the.
Okay.
Looked very nice. At least that's all I'll say about him.
He's doing all right.
Yes.
I think he's on pace to break the rookie passing record. Right.
He might be. Yeah. I mean, I don't pay attention to that, but he looked pretty good against Kansas City when he first debuted a couple weeks ago. So that was good for Justin Herbert. That's what I love.
Props to him.
I watch college so closely. And, when they come through and, you see them in this light as well. But I always get so confused because, we're talking about the Browns' third-string running back. Like, I feel like I should have watched that guy in college somewhere, and I've never heard of them before. And that happens all the time in the NFL because the people who succeed in the NFL are so much different than those who end up breaking out on these college football teams.
Right. And there's only a finite amount of stars in college football, and there's lots of stars in the NFL, I think, my opinion. So
that's true. It's very true. Very true there. Okay, so we've talked mostly AFC, except for the Dallas conversation.
Right. Well, we got to finish it off in the AFC South. Yep. The Texans. I
mean, Bill O'Brien getting fired before Adam Gase, when the Jets might be like the worst team in the history of football at this point, is shocking.
I mean, I think Bill O'Brien should have been fired before he traded away their star wide receiver and got scraps in return. Bill O'Brien has essentially screwed the Texans for the next 2 years in the draft and also in the present.
Yep. And the thing is, also they'll never be bad enough to, get that number one pick type situation where a couple teams, a couple years ago were able to trade out there and get a bounty of picks for it, right? Because Deshaun Watson, even now, with my tiers, I have them in tier 4 out of 5 because Deshaun Watson's going to win them 5-6 games at the minimum. So and
right. They're not going to go much worse than 0-4.
Right. Well, you can't go worse than 0-4.
I know, but they're not going to go 0-7, 0-8.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I get your point now. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, especially, they have to have a game against Jacksonville or somebody coming up like that. So, Tennessee and Indy, Tennessee's 3-0 because they haven't played a game against Pittsburgh. Indianapolis 3-1 there with Phillip Rivers.
They're going to be 3-2 after they play the Browns this week.
There we go. I can't separate these teams. It's the same thing I had, going this for the preseason. Like I can't separate these two teams. Like I need to see them play, of course, twice to see that. But it's just going to be a very tight race at the top, I think.
Yeah, I think Philip Rivers is going to be what pulls the Colts over the Titans.
Yeah, I think I still favor the Colts a bit, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. They also have a much better point differential despite having the loss there in that game. So there we go.
By the way, the Texans do play the Jaguars next week.
There we go. So 1-4. There we go. For who's the interim? Is it Cornell? I think it's Romeo Cornell. That's a flashback for you.
Yeah, it is.
Not good memories. Not good memories.
No, not good memories.
We don't need to talk about the NFC East anymore. We've done enough with that. I don't want to get mad at myself. The NFC North. We talked about Detroit already, and it's going to pain me if we talk about them further. We talked about Green Bay as well. That'll pain me more if we talk about them too. See, a lot of pain here in terms of sports for me. It's a common theme. The Chicago Bears. Are they the worst 3-1 team? And not only this league, but like probably the past 10 years?
Oof. I don't know. That's rough. That's like saying, are the Texans the best 0-4 team?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, probably.
Yeah, because like
they benched their starting quarterback, right? Like
at 3-0. Yeah, they benched Mitch at 3-0.
Right. How do you? I mean, to be honest, I think the Bearcats might bench their starting quarterback at 3-0 at some point.
Desmond Ridder.
Yeah. But back to NFL. I mean, probably. How do you bench your starting quarterback at 3-0 and consider yourself a good team, a contending team?
I don't want to get, we're kind of talking about what we thought preseason versus now. We're not doing too much predictions. We'll do updated playoffs at the end. But we're not doing too many, bold predictions the rest of the year. I have one, though. I bet you Mitch starts another at least 3 games. I feel like this is going to be a team that you look at, they end up at 9-7. I think they barely missed the playoffs. I don't think they're good enough to make the playoffs. And I think they just go, they play like, pass the potato or pass, whatever, the hot tomato, whatever. The rest of the year with the Corvus. What was it? It's hot potato. That's what it is. Goodness, I'm losing my mind, guys. I am losing my mind here at Zoom University. The government's getting me. They're imprinting some stuff from my computer.
Honestly, looking at the rest of their schedule, I think they could lose out until week 13. It wouldn't surprise me. They play Tom Brady's Bucs. They play the Panthers, which is probably their most winnable game. They play the Rams. They play the Saints. They play the Titans. They play the Vikings. They have a bye. They play the Packers, and then they play the Lions. Like, got a rough schedule going up. They're not going to be anywhere close to how they look now in another 5 weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, just we all love Nick Foles for what he did with the Eagles and the swagger he had there and stuff like that. We all, I loved playing against Mitch Trubisky. At least that was always fun. So
now you sound like a Steelers fan talking about playing the Browns.
It's true. So I just don't see. I think Chicago is a team where you're like, okay, yeah, they're 3-1. They're second in the NFC North. They would be the 5 or 6 seed if the season ended today. And I don't think they'll be even close. Like I think if we'll probably do these monthly check-ins. I think by November we're going to see maybe a 3-5 or a 4-4. We're like, yeah, wait, what were we talking about there? The NFC, every team in the NFC West is so much better than the Bears, and that's what I think we'll get to.
Yeah. Wait a minute. NFC West. Okay. Yeah. I was thinking about the East. And I was
no. Yeah, no. I mean, Seattle we already talked about. The Rams, I think I'm going to place into the postseason. I think I've seen I feel like in a wide variety. We had the Sean McVay team was a Super Bowl runner-up, against the Patriots. And then last year they missed the playoffs. They still went 9-7, decent team, and I think there was some overcorrection in terms of our minds of the Rams. This is still a really talented team. Now, obviously, they locked up Jalen Ramsey recently, and I think I might have discounted that and just thought about it as a a continuous decline despite maybe just a U shape trajectory for this team.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I agree.
Yeah, cool.
Oh yeah, I think they're going to make the playoffs this year. They're going to get better and better, much better than they were last year. But it's difficult going 9-7 and missing the playoffs when you have a team like whoever's going to come out of the NFC East, who probably won't have a winning record and make the playoffs. Like, that hurts. I have faith in them. Yeah.
What do we think about San Francisco?
San Francisco, man, F's in the chat for them. Like, the injuries are brutal for them. And I don't know. I'm wondering if they're reaping the seeds that they sowed. I don't know what that saying actually is. I don't know. I don't know if they did it to themselves in terms of like conditioning and physical preparation, and that's why they had a lot of injuries, because they're the most injuries in the NFL, right? You would say?
Yes. Yeah, them are the Eagles.
Right. So, like, did they do it to themselves? Do you feel bad for them? I think they've still got potential. They're probably – I have them – excuse me. I have them in the playoffs because I think they'll bounce back, but not Super Bowl contenders again.
Yeah. I have them in the playoffs as well. And you're right. I knocked them down a peg from Super Bowl contenders versus the preseason. But I also look at the NFC, and, like the top of the NFC is very, very good, as we've discussed. But I also don't see who's going to be that 8th team that could challenge them. I have them as the 7th seed here. I don't see who the 8th team would be. I mean, it's too early to cross off teams. I think it could be Arizona from their own division, of course, and Arizona holding a win over them. Maybe Minnesota has found some luck. I don't know. I'm not too bullish on them right now. NFC East, no way. In the South, I include the Saints in the 7 teams already, and I don't think Carolina will make it. So that's another reason why it's like you look through, like, are there 7 or 8 good teams in the NFC? And I think there might be 8, and that San Francisco will just sneak in there.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I have the Saints as the 8th team to sneak in behind them. But you want to hit on anything else in terms of team, I don't know, review, summary, before we get into predictions?
Yeah, can we talk about Tampa Bay real quick?
Oh, yeah, we totally missed that division.
It's a weird they're 3-1. They're at the top of the division, as the Saints are faltering a little bit. Just doesn't feel right. 100% right, does it?
No, because I think they haven't been playing great.
Yeah.
They haven't been meshed. And I'm 100% sure that is a result of COVID and less in-person stuff and so many new moving parts in the organization. So I thought they were going to be more like a 1-3 team that should be 3-1, but they are 3-1. Damn it! This is what the Browns should have been like last year. They weren't pretty, but they were winning games. So I mean, I'm surprised. I'm impressed. And I mean, if they've done it this far, I think they ought to be able to keep up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with you. For a large part of Sunday, we're trailing the Chargers as well, I will say. A definitely inferior team. So, and Chris Godwin is out for their game against the Bears. I'll say tonight, because I think I'll release this on Thursday. So they're the Thursday night game, of course, tonight at Chicago. And Chris Godwin will not be playing. So there we are. So, yeah, not the best.
Saints are... Dang it, Drew Brees. I think he can still bounce back, but he's clearly not having his best year.
Yeah, so as a person who picked the Saints to win the Super Bowl, I'm not out for it yet. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think they're as good as I thought they would be. And the reason it has less to do with Drew Brees and, of course, the Michael Thomas injury, I could look past. Their defense doesn't look as good as I thought it would. I thought Marshawn Lattimore would spice up that secondary, do really well. Davenport's been out on the edge for them, which, when you still have people like Cameron Jordan on the edge, you'd think you'd be able to compensate. The defense concerns me more than Drew Brees not being able to throw the deep ball with the best accuracy, in my opinion. Because I think Sean Payton and Drew Brees are smart enough to scheme around that, especially with someone like Michael Thomas in the lineup, which he should be coming back soon. Mm-hmm. The defense concerns me because there's no obvious thing that's going to fix that right now.
Right. That's good analysis. I accept that.
Yeah. Atlanta Falcons 0-4. I apologize for Falcons fans. That's all I have to say. They've had what a season. I mean, they've blown how many leads? Like 25-point leads?
Dude. I mean, yeah, I feel sorry for the fans. I don't feel sorry for the team at all.
Oh yeah, well,
like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
How do you continue to do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's
how do you give the Cowboys their only win of the season on a completely botched, completely botched fourth quarter, but also completely botched onside kickoff recovery?
Yeah.
Like, but it's the NFL. It's 2020. What are you doing?
Yeah, like everyone knows that the opposing team can touch the kick before the 10 yards. It's just that the recovering team, the team kicking the ball, can't. So that's why it makes the onside kicks are really difficult because the opposing team can touch it whenever they want. So yeah, my mind was just boggled when I saw that happen. It's like, what? So yeah, Dan Quinn. I mean,
I saw
another
like
one.
I saw like Barstool and I don't know whoever else like retweet the video or tweet the video and say this is the best onside kick ever, and I'm like, no, absolutely positively not. That's an awful onside kick. It's the best worst recovery ever. Like that's the best result you could ask for from the team that's trying to return the kick is to just not touch it until it goes 10 yards. Like, thank you for the gift wrapped present, but
yeah,
man,
I know it's ridiculous. So, but other than that, yeah, I am ready for predictions if you are.
All right. Well, I can start with the NFC. The only difference I have from last time is I was trying to vie for the Lions, but no more. We're going to replace the Lions with the Rams, switch up the order a little bit. You know, I had the 49ers and the Saints as the top two seeds. I've bumped them down to wild card. So in order, Seahawks at the top, Aaron Rodgers at the second place with the Packers, MVP, runner-up MVP, and then the Buccaneers and the Cowboys because somebody's got to win that division. In the wild card spots, got the Rams, 49ers, Saints, in that order. Let's hear your NFC.
There we go. So I was trying to find my old list. I cannot find it. Maybe I don't want to find it because it was so bad. Where the heck is it? I have also made some alterations. That's for sure. I've added the Rams as you did. And I dropped out, I want to say the Eagles. Was that my 7th seed? I'm sorry, guys.
Sounds fair.
Here we go. Okay, I got it now. All right. So previously I had going 1 to 7, New Orleans, San Francisco, Dallas, Minnesota, yikes, Seattle, Tampa Bay, and Philadelphia. The new, is there any teams that stayed in their spot? I don't think so. I think I moved everybody. We are punting on my previous preseason predictions. I'm sorry if you listened to me. Seattle is the number 1 overall seed. With Russell Wilson. The main challenger for the MVP, Aaron Rodgers, slotting in the number 2 Green Bay spot there. Up at Tampa at 3. I think they'll win the division, especially with we're uncertain about Michael Thomas's health going forward. Dallas at 4 because they have to, and they're going to host the Rams, and the Rams are going to beat them wild card weekend because the Rams are just a better team. Saints 6, and then I think the Niners will sneak in at 7 once they get healthy there and nudge out the Arizona Cardinals.
So we have... Wait, did you say Cardinals?
I'm saying San Francisco will nudge out
for the 7th seed.
Arizona,
for the 7th seed.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were talking about playoff matchups again. So we have the same NFC prediction, except for we switched the 6th and the 7th seed, the 49ers and the Saints.
Yeah, I think that's just. I'm sure this will change again, but it just seems like the most logical type of setup right now. Like I think there's 7 or 8 good teams in in both conferences.
Yeah. All right. So then I guess Some of the same for the AFC. A couple more changes. We got the Chiefs at the top still, of course. And then I had to give up my burning desire for the Browns to win the division. I will secede that the Ravens will probably win the division, be the 2 seed. Bills, I think they're going to come out on top in their division, and then the Colts in their division. So then we got the Steelers at the 5 seed, Browns at the 6 seed, Patriots get in at the 7 seed.
Yeah, so my AFC, I'm not changing too much here. Kansas City still number 1 seed. I'm flip-flopping Baltimore and Buffalo. I had Baltimore 2, Buffalo 3. I'm going to flip-flop those. Especially with Buffalo playing the decrypt AFC East there in Miami and the Jets another couple times. And Baltimore having just a brutal schedule just in terms of the division going forward. I'm going to flip Tennessee and Indianapolis. I'm going to put Indianapolis in there. Yeah, I think your point about Phillip Rivers and the veteran stewardship at that Colts ship is going to do well for Indianapolis fans there in the division. I have Pittsburgh as the 5 seed. I remember I was low on them. I did not have them in the playoffs previously. I'm going to bump Cleveland from the 7th to the 6th seed and then drop New England a spot to the 7th seed. I think they barely nudge out Tennessee there for that wild card because, that's just – I just –
So, again, very similar. The only difference we have is the Ravens and the Bills at the 2 and 3 seed for us. So – I think, like you said, there's maybe 8 teams that stand out above the rest in each division. If you want to stretch it, 9, maybe 10, and so those last couple wild card spots are the only ones up for grabs. There's front runners.
Yeah, if you had Tennessee in that 7th spot, in the AFC, I wouldn't fight you too much. I just think Bill Belichick's not going to miss the playoffs, especially his first year without Brady.
And Cam Newton is on. He's going to come back from the coronavirus positive test. He's going to continue playing at a high level. He's been playing at a high level through the 3 games that he did play at. So their team's going to do good. They might be higher than the Browns and the Steelers just because of the division. Browns are going to be beat by the Ravens twice, probably Steelers once. Steelers are going to be beat by the Ravens at least once. Hopefully the Browns once. And I guess the Patriots are going to play the Bills, so we'll see how that goes for them. But they'll be in there.
Yeah, I agree with you. So I think we have some updated thoughts, and then we'll keep watching the next couple weeks. I think you're going to tell us a lot more about these teams. Hopefully, the NFC East gets figured out. My goodness. Yeah. Do you have any other?
We've talked about MVP a little bit. I think both of us expect Russell Wilson MVP, Aaron Rodgers runner-up, and then I don't know, what do you think, Bills quarterback or Chiefs quarterback?
Well, Mahomes probably gets a lean there.
Yeah,
over Josh Allen.
Just for his name.
Yes. Yeah.
But
I'd say right now
as the season progresses.
Right, yeah. I don't know if Russell Wilson will end up being the MVP. I just want to say that he is the MVP right now. I don't really feel
That's
too.
fair.
Yeah, I don't know about forecasting it out that far because we see injury luck and stuff like that happening, and who knows? And especially in that division as well. Does an MVP win if the Rams are 12-4 and Seattle's 11-5? Like that's a tough debate to consider. But I think Russ is at least MVP now. I think Rodgers is the clear second, and then when you get down to 3rd and 4th, it could be Allen, it could be Mahomes. Could be. I'm looking through the rest of the teams here. Maybe Carson Wentz.
Stop it. You almost want to say Dak Prescott because of how many passing yards he has, and he's playing at a high level. But you're not going to have a 1-3 team who's barely making the playoffs win the MVP.
Yep.
No one from that team.
No, I agree with you 100% there. So, and I will say too, our worst record thing when I gave out Carolina. Think about that division, and Atlanta has shown that they're 0-4, and Carolina is the 2-2 team, and it's I would venture now to say that it's going to go to New York because the Jets and Giants are the 2 worst teams in the league by far. I guess Jets if I had to lean one.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at New York.
Yeah. So poor New York
New
fans.
York might get the top 2 picks in the draft.
Yeah, that'd be super weird because, like, I don't know, like, will the Jets give up on Darnold then?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, I feel like probably not.
Just as old as Baker.
Probably won't give up on Darnold. Right.
That's one for later.
That's a
in the
good
season,
question.
I think. Yeah.
We'll have to revisit it later in the season.
Yes, we will have to because I feel like Darnold, right now, my guess would be no, just because Darnold's gotten an unfair shake of it, with a lot of things going on there. Dan Gase is a miserable head coach.
And everything.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields are going to be there, so who knows?
Yeah, so I guess Daniel Jones and as well. So who?
Yep.
Be quarterback controversy coming up with the draft. That's later date though. That's
later date. Yes, we'll get.
That's all I got for predictions.
Yeah, there we go. So it's a little bit of a shorter show today, but I appreciate you coming on here and everything. And let's hope with our little bit of our vision here, we look a bit smarter. We'll come around early weeks in November, right?
Right. I mean, I think this is going to look smarter than we did preseason.
I mean,
so,
you did pick the Lions to go to the playoffs.
I did pick the Lions to go to the playoffs.
Yep. And I picked the Saints to be Super Bowl champs. So, I mean, there's that there. But yes, so thank you again for coming on. I always love doing these shows with you, and we'll be talking soon throughout the weekend and everything as well.
All right. Sounds good. Have a good one.